Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician, and this is Holomancer.
Today we have decided to analyze all of the game changes that have occurred over the past few weeks. In this video, we will try to determine what impact the nerfs and buffs have had on the game.
We collected the most interesting news, decks, statistics, and facts for you. We also ask you to take part in our surveys. With your help, we can get useful information for future videos.
To start, let's look at the popularity of classes in the metagame and determine how they have changed after the nerf and buff. The meta has evolved due to both updates, but the results end up feeling roughly the same, although a couple of new archetypes have emerged. The nerf hit Rogue hard, which made the leader in the metagame become the Hunter. This is no surprise to us due to the fact that Valeera was the biggest factor holding back Rexxar.
At the same time, the Rogue has gradually moved up after the buff, although almost all of its archetypes have very small win rates.
The Paladin and Shaman have had the biggest increase in popularity. The opposite has happened with Warrior and Warlock.
Let's talk in more detail about Rogue.
The current win rate of rogues is just horrible. After the nerf, cards like Preparation, Raiding Party, and Evil Miscreant are still seeing a lot of play, but Valeera needs time to adjust her decks and find the most optimal game strategies.
Pogo Rogue made an explosive jump into the meta, thanks to the buff to Pogo Hopper, but its win rate still leaves something to be desired.
The only effective rogue archetype is currently Hooktusk Rogue, despite its low popularity.
In general, this archetype only has about 1.5% popularity. We found the best available deck build. This version costs 7,440 dust, and has a win rate of 58%.
This deck features small packages of various archetypes, such as the Thief Rogue, Pirate Rogue and Lackey Rogue, 3 different archetypes in one. It seems like so much fun. If you're a lucky owner of Captain Hooktusk, you should definitely try this deck.
Hunter was into shade by the balance changes, and as a result, Rexxar has risen to become the strongest class in the game.
Rexxar has 4 very successful archetypes, with the most popular and effective of them being Mech Hunter. Currently this is the strongest archetype in the standard ladder. We have found the best version of the deck for you. This version has a win rate of 60% and costs 6,400 dust to craft.
Mech Hunter is an aggressive deck, built around mech synergies. The majority of these mechs interact with each other.
Frankly, we are concerned by Hunter's popularity. After the release of Rastakhan's Rumble, Hunter remains one of the best classes in the game. After all, now the Hunter's popularity is 26%, which means that on average, 1 out of 4 of your opponents is a Hunter. This is the second time that Hunter has shown a record high result in the last 2 years of our meta monitoring. If the situation does not change dramatically, which is unlikely, we will need a new nerf.
We just don't understand why the Hunter was onto shade by the developers. Instead, they strengthened it with a new legendary mech.
Let's talk about Snip Snap and Zale Shadow Cloak. This year, Blizzard increased the number of legendary cards. Since the rotation, we have already received 2 additional legendaries. Technically, you can't get these cards in packs.
Did the release of Snip Snap have an impact on the metagame?
Yes, of course. This release made mech cards especially popular. In the list of the 10 most popular standard cards, 8 cards are mechs. In general, every 4th deck uses Snip Snap.
We think that adding new cards is a great idea, but there is one drawback. Blizzard giving out the new card to all players only during the event, which will end on July 1st. Most likely, Snip will retain its strength in standard mode until the end of the Year of the Dragon. New players and players who return to the game after a break will be forced to craft this card from dust, thus spending extra resources.
And how do you feel about the buffs?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We made a big guide about legendary cards that deserve to be disenchanted. Do not miss this video, it will be really useful if you need to get dust. 4 Boomstay legendary cards that got buffed was on our list. For this reason, we closely followed their results in the meta.
This is their percent popularity before and after the buff. The cost change of Luna's Pocket Galaxy and the Stormbringer had the biggest impact, unlike Flark's Boomzooka and Dr. Morrigan. The changes did not help them at all.
The community has been clamoring for buffs for a long time. Finally, it happened. We are delighted with the possibility of buffing weak cards. This is a great way to diversify the matter during the periods between expansions.
But again, there is one little flaw. Many players get rid of weak cards to get resources. If we are talking about legendary cards, then for a newcomer, 400 dust has tremendous value. Only 18% of players don't disenchant any legendaries.
Such buffs create new risks for players who are in great need of resources. We believe that it would be honest to allow players who disenchant weak legendaries to bring them back at a reduced cost after buffs.
In other words, if I got rid of Dr. Morrigan and got 400 dust for it, if this card is buffed, I could craft it for 400 dust. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Otherwise the game becomes more uncomfortable for players who have few resources. We predict that this year we will receive more and more new legendary cards, and more weak cards will get buffed. Thus, the game will become a bit more expensive. It may seem that all of this is not essential, but such nuances demonstrate the loyalty of developers to the players.
What about sets? Which packs are better to buy?
Buying Witchwood or Rastakhan is still the worst decision, because these sets have too few useful cards.
Of course, interest in Boomsday cards has grown significantly. According to the results of the first week after the buffs, this set became the most popular in the game. Every fourth card in decks is from the Boomsday set.
Currently 70 out of 136 cards are used by players, which is 51% of the cards. The popularity of all legendary cards is only 15%. This means that only every 7th legendary card in the meta game is a card from Boomsday.
Has it become more profitable to buy Boomsday packs?
Certainly yes, the potential benefit of pack for the Boomsday is 47%. This means that almost potentially every second card from the pack may be useful. But still, the best choice is to buy Rise of Shadows. By the way, we made a special video about each set. Despite the changes in the meta game, our data remains relevant. Don't miss it, you can find the link in the description.
A few more words about Zilliax.
That ain't good.
We assume that Zilliax is the most playable card in the entire history of the game.
According to statistics, 63% of decks use Zilliax. The developers have stated in the past that they're trying to get rid of auto-include cards, but it looks like Zilliax is an exception, since developers like the way it is used.
Year of the Dragon brought a new wind of change to the game. Rise of Shadows is one of the best expansions. The meta game has become more diverse and funny.
For the first time, we received card buffs, and a release of a new card. For new players, the developers have added 25 additional ranks. The arena is receiving regular set rotations. Also, we got the best solo adventure yet. Tavern brawls have become more interesting. Even more new hero portraits and special offers for packs have also been released.
Time to pay!
And of course, there is also the development of cybersports, with the new rules of Hearthstone Masters, the evolution of the official channel on YouTube, and the release of a large number of promotional videos. We finally got a section with all the collectible cards on the official site. More Twitch shows with popular streamers, and rewards for viewing streams with Twitch drops.
Well, we already realized that the developers are amazing. You have to give us a simple answer. Are these changes enough to make Hearthstone great again?
Reporter Dora, you always ask the right questions, thank you. It is very difficult to give an unequivocal answer. We believe that Twitch viewing statistics are a good demonstration of the player's interest in the game. Using statistics from Sullynome.com, we created a graph of the average number of viewers for stream between April and the middle of June 2017. The peak interest in the game was on April 6, the day of the Ngoro release.
Now let's add a graph of views for the same period in 2018. The Witchwood was released on April 12th. As you can see, community interest was higher on release day, but overall, it turned out to be less.
Finally, let's add the schedule for 2019. The Rise of Shadows was released on April 9th, and as you can see, community interest was record low. From April 23rd to April 28th, the Hearthstone World Championship took place, with the distribution of packs supported by the Twitch Drops program. This can explain bursts of interest.
In general, the popularity of the game continues to fall, even with all the changes, despite the fact that the audience of Twitch is growing.
It looks like the game's audience is shrinking despite Blizzard's efforts. Perhaps the game needs more radical changes, such as increased rewards for players, new game modes, more substantial innovation for old modes, new classes or more significant game storytelling by means of animated shorts, serials and comics.
The game is definitely developing, but too slowly. Many new changes should have appeared much earlier. Guys, what do you think about this? What advice would you give to a developer?
What can make Hearthstone even better? We created a YouTube poll. Find the button on the screen, please vote.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.